Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I have some fired brick distress ink and a old Stampin' Up, I want to say, bricked stencil. I have the open house door base, sentiment steps and the side panels from Spellbinders. I have October 22 small die of the month for the poinsettia from Spellbinders, and also the October large die of the month for the little present from Spellbinders as well. I'm using the Woodland Critter Huggers Winter add-on for the present again, and for the candy cane, and that one's from Lawn Fawn. And then also from Lawn Fawn, the Build a House Christmas add-on for the lights. So this is what we're going to use to create our very elegant Christmas card. So to start with, I have a 5x7 panel. So this is going to be a big card, or a larger card than I normally do. And I'm going to just temporarily tape the stencil in place where I want it so I can get my bricks inked. So just putting a bit of tape at the back of the stencil and the piece of cardstock. And then using the fired brick appropriately, the fired brick ink and a ink blending sponge. No, what are these? Foam applicator. I always forget these things. Foam applicator to put this on. You could use an ink blending brush as well. I happen to have this on my desk at the moment, so I went with that. And I'm not doing it perfectly. It's going to be, some areas will be darker, some will be lighter, but it'll make sense when we do the next bit as well. And then just kind of lining up as best I can at the bottom there, the bricks. They're not meant to line up like this, but I made it work so that I could get a bigger panel of these bricks. So that's the bricks done. And then I'm going to take off the tape on the sides so that I can ink around the edges, because I love a bit of inking. And also over the top of it, because with any brickwork, you're not going to have stark white in the background. It's going to be whatever the color is, of those bricks, normally, more or less anyway. And then I decided to bring in some brushed corduroy. Again, it was sitting on my desk, and again, just randomly going over the page to make it look like old bricks. And I think that just made it look a little bit better again. I'm not sure if you can hear my cat, he's howling in the background. Anyway. So once I've done that, I am going to show you the myriad of die cut pieces that I have. There is a ton of die cutting to do on this, and yeah. So to start with, I have got my stairs that I'm just lining up just for some so I can see where everything's going to lay. And this is where I realized that I actually needed another little section at the bottom there just to try and ground everything. So this is what this piece is here. So I used the stairs as the guide to see how tall I wanted this piece, and then it's the width of the card. So it's 5 by however tall those stairs are. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then I used some black soot distress ink just to ink around that edge, so it gave it that more, one is a contrast against the bricks, but it's more like a concrete kind of finish. That's the idea in my head. So once I've done that, that was pretty simple. I'm just going to get that stuck to the bottom section of the bricks. And it just gives it, you'll see in a second, it just kind of makes it grounds is probably the right word. It grounds the stairs and the door and just helps to make it look more realistic, for want of a better word, even though we're, creating cards. But as realistic as it's going to get. So now I have my backdrop ready. I'm going to start to stick the 10,000 pieces together. So as with any Spellbinders dies, they think of just about everything. Bit like Lawn Fawn. I love Lawn Fawn because they think of everything when it comes to these. And for the stairs, there's a number of different sentiments you can add into the stairs, and you can actually add, all 3 stairs can have a sentiment on it to create, or a word on it to create your sentiment. So it's very, very cool. So it's not just the Christmas one. So this happens to be in that set. So I thought that was really, really cool. And so what I would suggest is, if you're not making videos like I am, and I'm trying to put all these pieces together with you, then I would work on each part or each die collection separately. So work on your stairs like I'm doing here, and put all the stair pieces together as you've die cut them, so that you then have all your parts and pieces ready to go when you want to put your card together. Because for me, I had to think ahead to make sure I had enough of everything to then put it together on film, like while I'm filming. So that would be my suggestion if you're not making films, making videos. Oh God. Anyway, so for the stairs themselves, you have the main backdrop piece, and then the die cut sentiment strip that with the sentiment itself, and then there are these extra pieces that will allow you to kind of see the top part of the stair, if that makes sense. So it gives that more 3D look to it. Now you don't have to put a sentiment, you don't have to die cut the sentiments into it at all. You could just have the stairs, and it just gives you that illusion that they're actually stairs. It's very clever the way it's done. So once I had my stairs together, I can now start to put the whole lot. Well, I can start to put some of it together. So I'm using an acrylic block as well as I layer each piece together, just to help it, give it time to for the glue to sort of adhere. You've seen me do that a million times, but just in case you're new. And then I'm started to work on the door, and again the door has a bunch of different layers. Some of them I did leave off just because, one, it's time, and also I was happy with what I had in my mind as to what I wanted to do here. So for the door, for the two glass panels at the top, you have what would be the inside of the house, so the blue pieces, and then the top layer. So I went with a sort of a white gold, red and green being traditional as well with the gold, and then just a hint of this sort of light blue. I would have liked a much lighter blue than this, but this still worked, and I thought it looked quite nice. So just layering up the windows for the top of the door, and then I will also, there is this tiny little post box that actually die cuts so you can open it. So if you have, or you create little letters, you can have them sticking out of there. How cool is that? I think it's so clever. And then the door handle as well, the little doorknob, so that goes on just next to it. And I just used I don't know if I said this, but I used some gold mirror cardstock for all the gold pieces. Just thought it added, especially at Christmas time, I thought it added a bit of extra. And then there's this top piece, which is like decorative glass on a door. No idea what the thing's called, so if anybody knows, please shove that in the comments, because I don't know. And you'll see in a bit when I start to put this together, I do make a bit of a boo-boo, so learn from my mistakes, because this is the first time I'm cutting these, this is the first time I'm putting them together. I do this with you guys so that we learn together. But when it comes, there are some side panels for the door as well, and there's also those decorative pieces for the top of the side panels to create this lovely elaborate door, which you'll see in a bit. But at the moment I'm trying to put this, again, I don't know what this is called, but it kind of goes at the top of the door. So I just eyeballed it. I wasn't totally sure if I was putting it in the right place, but I made it work. And you will see that I shouldn't have put that on just yet. I should have waited until I was layering each bit up. So learn from my mistakes. But I also wanted to get the little lights on. These are from the Lawn Fawn Christmas add-on for the Build a House, and they absolutely fit spot on perfect. I'd like completely fluked. Is that the right word? Complete fluke. They fit exactly across that front panel there on that gold top piece, and I couldn't believe how perfectly they fit across there, but I was really chuffed over there. So getting my lights on there, and then I went with a red glitter, which is actually a Lawn Fawn cardstock, and then also the green is kind of like the old-fashioned wires that we had for Christmas lights. So now I can start to put these pieces together. Now I've stuck the rest of them together off camera because, one, my camera died on me, and two, that's just it's just repetitive. It's just sticking each layer of each piece together. So put my stairs on, and then on my door I also added the wreath. No, not the wreath. I didn't have a wreath. The poinsettia from the Spellbinder one of the old small die of the month. I think it was last year, and I think it was October, and put that on the front of the door with a gem in the middle, just because I thought that was something on the front door and it was sort of Christmassy. Like I say, I don't have a wreath, so I need to make that. I've got to fix that, because a wreath for the front door would be great now that I have this giant door. So this is where I made a bit of boo-boo. You'll see in a second. First of all, I didn't know if that was actually where it went, but it's when I put these side panels on, you'll see how these perfectly fit. They line up at the top and the bottom of the door, and they just fit perfectly in that spot. It's Spellbinders. They know what they're doing. So I got both the side panels on, and like I say, just slid underneath that top layer where my lights are. So I got that on there, and then this is where the extra corner, like decorative pieces that should go on the side panels for the door, this is where I realized that this top layer was not in the right place. And I think it's supposed to butt up against the top edge of the door itself. So you'll see in a second here. So as I go to layer this piece, the side, like the decorative glass for the side, they all butt up against each other. So I had to keep finagling to move it down. So I would suggest not putting that gold strip where I've got the lights. I would suggest putting that on after you've put these dome pieces at the top on, and it'll make more sense that way than trying to do it the way I've just done it. But I was, living and learning as we were doing this, and it worked out fine. I could get the pieces up with not too much damage to the back panel, or you can't really see that I've even done that. Obviously you guys know, but you know what I mean. So that would be my suggestion. Layer all those domes first, and then put your lights and their top bar bit. I don't know what that thing's called. Anyway, so now back to the stairs. Now I'm going to put my railings on, and again I had to refer to the packaging, which is really good, because it gives you an idea of where these things are supposed to line up. And once you know, but it took me a minute just to fathom exactly where the base of each of those, what would you call that, the railings for the stairs, where they actually had to sit on the stairs themselves to make it look like they were in the right place, if that makes sense. So once you know, and they go on and they're beautiful, and it just works really well. So just putting an acrylic block on there like I do to help hold the piece in place while the glue dries. So I'll get the one on the other side done as well. Make sure you put them on the right way around. No, it's kind of obvious because of the like rail bits that come down. You'd know if you were on the wrong side. So I got the second one on and just letting that dry, and suddenly the door is coming together. Now I have a 5x7 card. I'll come back to that in a second. So the front of my door, it looks lovely, but because it's very white, because of the color scheme I chose, I knew I needed something else on the front door. So this made the most sense to me. So I used the presents, as I showed you at the beginning, from the different die sets, some of them Lawnful and some of them Spellbinders. And I just used the same reds from the poinsettia, the same green from the poinsettia, the white that I'd used, and also the gold mirror cardstock for the bows on the presents. And I just kind of mixed and matched and got them sat on the steps, and then added the what are they called, candy canes. Just sort of added them in where I thought they made sense. And then at least there was just something on the front step. You don't have to do this. If you've done the stairs in a different color, or you've done the doors in a different color, the door and the door frames and side panels, or whatever you want to call them. If you've done those in different colors, then yeah, you don't need to add anything to your front door. Or if your sentiment goes up on that top step, so you've got a sentiment on every step, which you can do, then you won't necessarily need anything else. But I just thought it added something extra. It's Christmas, extra is always better at Christmas or Halloween. So I just thought it added something, and it also kind of balances out the bottom of the card, I thought. So yeah. So now I'm just getting the double-sided tape stuck to the front of my card. I thought this would be the easiest way to get this stuck on here, is to put the tape on the card front instead of the back of the main decorative panel. I could have used wet adhesive as well, and then just put acrylic blocks on top of it to hold it in place while it adhered, but this worked just fine. And it's pretty easy. So like I said, it's a 5x7, so it is a larger than I would normally do card, even for Christmas. But it's actually a nice size card. It's not I don't feel like it's too big. I'm not very good with huge cards. So for me, this is probably as big as I would go card wise. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. I hope it gave you some hints and tips on what not to do. And so you learn from my mistakes. But I hope if you have this die set or you're thinking of getting it, I hope that you enjoy it, because it is so fantastic. And stay tuned, because I will be bringing some Halloween ones with this door set as well. So until next time, guys, bye for now.